Hold. Here we go. Okay, and we are live. Oh my goodness, this is my first ever guest on Bill's Sisters Light on Bills. I'm gonna look at my let's see if we should do the setup so that you and me can both see each other. I mean, I don't actually know how this is what's the word, broadcasting, like
Right.
how you can set up the screen and all that. And I think these are limited, there's limited functionality when you do stuff like this. But okay, that's fine. I think um maybe there's a
Mhm.
way I can just also while you're online, I'm gonna
I
scroll
love your
through this.
necklace, by the way, while you figure the technology of it out.
Oh, thank you. This was my Christmas present from my dear husband. I mean, how
That's
sweet
very
is
nice.
that?
Yeah.
And it's real. Because I did have a non-real one that I wore so much because I loved it so much that it just corroded on my
Oh,
neck. And then I was like, you know,
I could use one that
bling.
doesn't turn black.
Yeah, yeah, exactly. So I'm not really seeing how I can change the layout of I have, let's see, there is something called immersive. Ooh, no, that's gonna end up giving us some very weird backgrounds. I have it in gallery view, but I really don't know if here, maybe if I can put on, oh, there. How's that? What is your view? Do you see both of us?
I see you and me in the upper right corner.
Okay, well, I don't know where it's streaming from. I'm going to assume it's streaming from my laptop, which now has both of us. So if you look to your left, yes, look to your left, look to your left. Hi, Gabriela. It's like we're in the same room.
That's
Not.
so cool.
Love your Bills gear. Okay.
Thank you.
Um, this is so exciting because, it's really the point is not to go talk to talking heads. This is really about Bill's sisters, the Bill's sisterhood.
Mhm.
And you and me met at Jimmy's last week and we hit it off, or that was 2 weeks ago now, because that was
It
the
was 2 weeks.
fated, yeah, 2 weeks ago. And we hit it off. And of course, we have our bills in common. So isn't that like just the universal connection?
Yes, it is.
Um,
There's
and you
something
have a
special there.
there's something very special there. Um, and you have a really cool background because you came to the Bills Mafia unilaterally. So you were not forced to do this. So I don't want to like spoil it, but I kind of gave you the list of things that I'm interested in talking about, and that's the first one is like, what is your first Bill's memory? And also introduce yourself a little bit. You don't have to go into too much detail, but mostly, around the Bills.
Yeah.
Introduce yourself, your first Bill's memory, and and then we'll take it from there. How's that?
Hi, everybody. I'm Gabriela, but a lot of people like to call me Gabby, which is okay. Um, yeah, so I moved to the States about a year and a half ago from Germany. I grew up in New Jersey, actually, and I left Jersey in 2005, I think it was. I was about 25 years old. And my parents are European, so we didn't really grow up with football at all. It was just something that I, as a kid, kind of watched from afar, but never really got into it because there was nobody really
Not
playing.
American football, at least, because
Yeah,
football, soccer football is huge in Europe, of course, right?
it's huge globally, just not in the US. It's the
Right.
sport number one. So,
Do you have
with a different football, right?
right? Do you have soccer football team that you are a fan of?
I like Liverpool.
Oh, wow. Okay, cool. I mean, that works. Liverpool, Buffalo, these are like very similar.
Very
Like,
passionate. fan bases and just great franchise organizations.
Also blue collar
Yeah,
industrial revolution, this is really, the Buffalo, Manchester, Liverpool, these cities were big. They became big and kind of wrote their name in history at really around the same time. So very common, similar fan base.
yeah, I was at least consistent in that theme. And then yeah, when I came to the States, I really wanted to get into football. It was a priority for me. So I started watching every Sunday, watching every team, or Thursday night if there was a game playing, which usually there was, or Monday Night Football. And of all the teams I watched, it was only the Buffalo Bills that really just kind of grabbed me.
Really? That's so
Yeah,
cool.
it was just the Bills. I didn't know anything about the Buffalo Bills before that. I had never been to Buffalo. Actually, I've been to Buffalo one time. I went to see Niagara Falls. So I was there accidentally, not knowing. Um,
I mean, it is one of the greatest wonders on the planet. So,
it
a
is.
total bucket list location.
Yeah. And
It's
then
magical, huh? Did you ride in on the Maid of the Mist? Did you do all
I
that
did.
stuff?
And you know what? This is going to sound really inappropriate, but to be honest, I was so disappointed when I got there. I thought these Niagara
Really?
Falls were gonna just blow my mind, and they were so small in comparison to how we see them on TV. So on
What?
TV, they seem like they're like 3 times bigger than they are in person.
Oh my God. Hashtag Niagara Smalls.
Niagara,
No. I mean, what?
and I'm sure a
Okay,
lot of
okay.
people say that have never been there, and then they go and they're like, "Oh, is that it?"
Like, wow. I no, honestly, I think that's the first time I've ever heard that Niagara Falls was anticlimactic.
Yeah,
And
I was
even,
like, "Oh,
for me, I grew up in Western New York and we always visited the falls,
right."
and I mean, regularly, we never rode on the Maid of the Mist because we were way too poor, So I actually had the opportunity to do that for the first time ever with my kids 2 years ago or something like, yeah, it was at the beginning of previous football season that we went for the home opener against the Steelers, which we lost. That was hugely devastating. But the Niagara Falls delivered because I don't know, I didn't I guess I've been there before, obviously, but so I didn't have this like preconception. But going on the Maid of the Mist and being under the falls, that
It's
was
pretty
just,
bananas, yeah.
yeah,
Yeah.
that totally delivered for me. And it was, yeah, for me, it was a bucket list because I had always wanted to do that. Like it was such an elusive thing. And then the fact that I got to do it with my kids
That's a
really
nice
made it,
memory, very special, yeah.
yeah, made it extra special. The
Yeah.
loss, not as much, but anyhow. So you did visit Buffalo by way of Niagara Falls previously, but
Yeah,
that's
I've
no
been there.
connection with your love for the Buffalo Bills.
No, it's not. And it's actually very interesting that I have the US is huge, right? And of all the places I had been there before, because I've never been outside of like, let's say I've been to a few states on the East Coast. I've never been out west, but Buffalo, New York is pretty far out of your way. It's not really, you really want to have to go. You have a trip
As we
up
know, yeah, it is kind of out of the way, and we feel that, and I guess that only adds to the, flavor of being a Bills fan, is that it's like it's not really East Coast America. It is actually, no, people growing up too, when I'd say I'm from Buffalo, New York, people would only hear New York, and then they'd be like,
I
and I'd
know
be like,
that
no, no,
place.
no,
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 you
no.
don't.
It's no, no, no. Yeah. And I'd have to explain that it's more the Midwest than the East Coast, which is totally true. It's like the breadbasket. And I always say it was like, you know, very rural, hilly, wine country, lake country, very beautiful. And I think I shared this on an earlier podcast, but I used to tell this to my husband all the time. And that trip for that season opener with the Steelers was also his first visit to Buffalo and surrounding areas because our family is actually from south of Buffalo on Lake Erie. And
Was that like preseason against the Steelers, or was
no,
that
no, no. It
game
was
of
the
the
season
regular?
opener. So it was the very first game of the season. So it wasn't last year, but the year before, and we lost it. Oh my God, that just sucked so bad. Because
Yeah,
it was
that
my,
too.
you know what else, Gabriela? I had never been to a Bills game. That was my first Bills game, even growing up, partially growing up in Western New York. My uncle, the voice of the Buffalo Bills, we never, I guess it just cost too much. And we had four kids, so it was like, again, the same kind of thing.
Yeah.
So it was my first game in
So
Rich
you can't go to
Stadium.
the games anymore.
No, I've been there since and we have won. So it's like I'm batting like whatever,
Yeah.
250 because the first one lost, the second one won. The second one was that the Deontay Hardy two returns for 6 points game. That was freaking crazy. I had
But
never, it was so quiet going into the stadium because everyone was kind of in mourning. It was like after the whole shock of what happened. So we were also like, this is tailgating. We were like, but we were all feeling it, like all kind of, oh. And then we got in the stadium. Of course, the stadium was packed. And then those two, well, the first punt return in particular, it went absolutely bonkers. It was really like unreal.
people
And
needed
I'm,
it. Yeah.
yeah. Have you been to a home game?
I haven't been, I had an invitation from a gentleman, uh,
Yes.
and I had to pass it up because I was like, I don't know what homie wants to do after or before that game. So I was like,
Right. The
it was
price
a
of a
playoff
ticket.
game. It was a
I think,
playoff game.
oh my glob. So,
So I was
wow.
like,
The
no,
ticket
no.
to the dance. I know.
You know?
I was streaming earlier and talking about that euphemism because Josh was saying we need to get our ticket to the dance, right? That's the whole regular season. And the
Mhm.
dance is the playoffs. So then I was
Okay.
like, well, then what is the Super Bowl? It's like prom. So ticket to the dance is just to get the playoffs. Prom is the Super Bowl. And winning the Super Bowl, they always say like, getting to third base. So I was like, so I thought hashtag prom crush smooch. That's like a euphemism for winning the Super Bowl. It's like getting invited to the dance, going to the prom with your high school crush and smooching. But yeah, if someone offers you a ticket to the dance, you know that there's going to be a price, right?
Yeah, and I just wasn't ready to pay yet.
Yeah. The
Especially since
Japanese,
I was gonna be up there alone, and I was like, don't nobody know me up there. And
hey, but here's the thing, you need to connect with the Bills Mafia babes. I have to give a really generous plug for them because are you on that Facebook group, the online
no,
community of Bills Mafia women fans?
no, I didn't know there
They,
was one.
yes. Okay, you're gonna go on there right now. And because there it happens frequently that women are like, my date or my partner or my partner in crime can't make it, and
Okay,
and then they all jump on the bandwagon. I'll be there,
I love
you can
that.
tailgate with us, we'll sit, even if we don't sit together, then it's honestly it's not really a big deal, right, if you don't sit together, because then you just vibe with the people around you. But yeah, isn't it unfortunate too that we actually have to think about that, like
Yeah, you
if
do
I'm
because it's a little. I don't know. Men just haven't really evolved past that. Just like, sorry, but like, they invite you and you're like, yeah, you're gonna expect something, and I'm just
Yeah.
like,
at what price this ticket. And I was going to say what the Japanese say is three things are the most expensive.
Interesting. I gotta write that one down.
Yeah, I really love that. I
I,
find
I
that.
knew that he was romantically interested in me, and I was like, it would be wrong for me to go. Even, I really wanted to go, but then I was like, nah, it's not okay. So
Bummer. Yeah. And then you didn't have the Bills Mafia Babes posse either. So, but
yeah.
next time better because
Yes.
we absolutely don't want to turn down opportunities to go see the Bills in the playoffs. But yeah, these are decisions women have to make, unfortunately, which is, yeah, not only have men not evolved past that, but also they're like free agents, right? They can just go.
Yeah.
And did you know that there's actually, so that's a movement in the travel industry is women traveling alone. So like, it's kind of like you can travel alone together,
It's
just
cool.
which, yeah, which is totally a great idea. And of course, it just simply comes down to feeling safe. So that's what it's all about. And yeah,
I
again,
think I saw a group like that on Facebook once.
you got to love technology for helping us with this kind of thing, right? Building community and
Yeah.
building safety. But it's really in pockets is the thing. Like, that's one of my common running themes is that the internet is a men's locker room. And
Yeah.
like we do have the opportunity to kind of meet in safety in small groups.
Yeah.
And yeah, that's obviously what this is about too. But okay, back to the bills. No, first back to beverage discussion, because talk about what you're
Like,
drinking.
what are you drinking? What is this drink?
I
So in Europe,
love
this
it.
is like everybody's favorite drink in Europe right now, or it has been for years.
It
It's
has
just
been
there's
for
nothing
years.
better. Everybody likes this. I don't know. It's just it never
The
gets old. It never gets boring.
Absolutely not. And it also will knock you on your ass in one drink. And then it is very, it's European in the fact that it's also Aperol Spritz. Right? It's like, oh, hey, this is Strasbourg. This is like the French-German alliance, right? Aperol Spritz.
The interesting part
And
is the first time I had this, I was in Florence because that's where I lived as a student.
oh,
So
sweet, life sucks. Also,
yeah,
actually, it's also made with Campari. So there you go. It is multinational. It is really European. That's true. What
it
else
is.
is in an Aperol Spritz? We should put the
So it's
recipe in there.
yeah, it's actually very easy to make at home. It's just Aperol, and then you have to add Prosecco or champagne.
Italian, French,
Some
cava,
people,
if you want to bring in the Spanish angle, right?
yeah, they have you can do white wine. There is a white wine version, which I personally don't like.
Boo.
It don't taste
Bubbles,
right. It
bubbles
just
all the way.
it's a fraud. Don't do the
Wait,
white wine.
I have the like motions on
The
Zoom.
reactions.
Yeah, the reactions should be on, but it's not working. Dang, maybe you have to do it. Okay. Do like oh that one. No, it actually is like it's the AIs. It's like actually capturing the
Oh,
motion
I don't know
and
how to
it
do that.
like in those like in Messenger where you can also put on the faces and do the gestures and stuff. It is like that.
Yeah.
Maybe it does not work when you're online. No,
Hmm.
that's too bad. Yeah, it says
So it's
recognize hand
Aperol,
gestures.
and then you have to do either champagne or prosecco, and then
Or Kava.
or cava, and you add some club soda and mix it a little bit, and it is pretty strong. You're
It's
right.
strong. It is strong. And
You
homegirl
only need
is
one, and it's fine.
our Bill's sister Gabriela here is drinking this at home. Wait, do a high five. Do that again. Ah, I done. Too awesome. I love that. I wouldn't even dare to make that at home. But then it's almost like I wouldn't even dare to drink it out, although I have. And one of my most recent memories of an Aperol Spritz was actually in Berlin. I was
Mm.
there
Yeah,
for
they
a
like it in Germany a lot.
but come on, you're right. They like it all over Europe. But I mean, just for the German connection there, and I'm going to drop a little notion because I was at the G7 meetings. I am not kidding. I was at the G7 meetings hosted by Europe, and a very dear friend of mine she leads the W7, which is the women's interest group in the G7. And she organized an event at one of the oldest gay clubs in Berlin, underground. Yes, where they had like the G7 presidencies show up and had
Really?
I mean, only in Berlin in a way, right? It's so
Yeah.
cool. And of course, we drank Aperol Spritz all night, and that was really awesome. I mean, I'm missing it. I'm missing Europe.
I
Aren't
sensed it
you?
when you just said it. I'm like, oh no, where's the tissues?
I know. I have some.
Yeah,
See
it's a
that?
different life.
Yeah.
Yeah.
But you're going to be heading back soon, right?
Yeah. My flight is on February 15th.
Oh
That's like tomorrow.
no.
Yeah.
I know you waited for when the Bills made the Super Bowl because you were going to go to that. So
That's
you
how
scheduled
committed I
it.
was.
I know. You're so
I could have gone back at any time and I was like, oh hell no, because if they make it to the Super Bowl and I'm
when they make it. I know. Believe, right?
yeah,
Got to keep believing. And I wear that like a cape, as you know.
yeah,
Yeah.
look at this. My auto emblem came from my new car in Germany.
Oh, that's my favorite one. That is my absolute favorite one. I got one that has the team colors in it,
Colors.
but I really think that is like very, very classy, very cool.
It is. It's we're making a statement, but we're not super loud about it.
Yeah, it's super classy.
Yeah.
And I actually at the game at the Deontay Hardy game, I actually bought one of those in one of the booths, one of the stands out on the street heading up to the stadium. And when we got home, it was gone. So I don't know. I lost it at that game.
Oh.
But that's exactly the one that I love. So,
Yeah,
so
it's a really nice.
your fandom, of course, is like boundless, has no borders, borderless fandom.
Yes.
So you're gonna put that sticker magnet thingy on your car in Germany and cruise
Yes.
around as a Bill's
And I have one more
sister.
thing. Hold
Yeah,
that
show me, show me. Uh-huh. Yeah, da 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 da. I'm gonna fill in the interstitial. I might just try to figure out how I can get these to work. Mm.
So I got this.
Oh, all right.
To hang
Where are
up.
you gonna fly that in
Um,
Germany?
so in Germany, I can hang this from my balcony, or I might put it on my wall at work.
Too sweet.
I
Too
need this
sweet.
because I have to keep my connection with the Bills, and it's gonna feel like home, even though I've never been to Buffalo, but this feels like home for me.
Oh, that's such a sweet sentiment.
Yeah,
It really is like that.
yeah, I think that the Bills Mafia was very inclusive with me. I know that people are very like, oh, well, how long have you been a fan? And you weren't there during the drought years, and we suffered, and you weren't there.
Hey, I wasn't either, I mean, okay, I was there from birth, so I didn't have to deal with that for 20 odd years. And by the way, the podcast from earlier today, I brought this out because do you see this?
Yeah,
So
1954.
I was at this Super Bowl game.
Wow.
It was the last one that
By
we
the
went.
way, have you seen what these prices for these tickets are?
I nearly croaked. And
I think,
actually, ironically, my husband is in Las Vegas right now for work, and he's staying in one of the places that's right across the street from the stadium. And in the very hotel in which he is staying right now, they have a package that's like $19,000 per person. Like,
It's ridiculous. Like the cheapest ticket is like 30 grand with like flights, hotel, food, and Super Bowl ticket. And I'm
oh,
like,
girl. I mean, I never do that. I don't know about you, but I'm because we went to the game in London and I'm like, Airbnb,
yeah,
booking my own tickets on,
pick pick.
oh no, I don't use
StubHub.
TickPick. I use, oh, keep going. See if you guess it.
StubHub, pick,
Oh
Ticketmaster.
no, I'm not talking about the game tickets. Oh yeah, the game tickets. Oh, I actually got in the queue to try to get those tickets legit for that game. That was such a farce. I
Wait,
am
where? For
telling
what
you.
game?
For the London game, when they
I don't
announced
know
it,
why, but so here's the thing. When I was in Germany, right, in Munich, whenever there was a football game in Munich, these tickets would sell out in seconds.
because of
So
the scalpers, because of that secondary market that you're talking about, like TickPick and StubHub, and they just go and buy them all. They use all the AIs, buy up all the tickets, clog the queue so you can't even get in there. And
how am I gonna go? I mean, okay, the Bills are not playing an away game next year, thank God.
you mean in Europe?
Yeah, they're not playing in Europe.
Oh my girl, that was such a farce. Also, because I told you, I think, that we went to that game in London, and here's my take on that. They know that the Bills Mafia travels, so we will go through hell or high water for our team, obviously, including booking those overseas travels, stay, tickets, and then all the business around that, right? So it is generating income for the local economy. However, there's the owner of the Carolina, oh no, wait,
The Jacksonville Jaguars.
sorry, thank you, the Jacksonville Jaguars. He's English, right? And they're trying to build a brand for that franchise in the UK and beyond, all across Europe, and power to them. But what I thought was, what kind of suckers are we? We're walking right into this situation where we will be playing to the home team, the
Mm,
Jaguars, right?
they were there a week earlier.
Also, he's a local dude. There's no way that they're going to lose that game at home to anybody. So, and they knew that the mafia would show up. It was really like a home game, except for, because they asked people to applaud at the beginning of the game so you could see what the division was between mafia and uh, Jaguars. Sorry, I always get the Carolina Panthers and the Jacksonville Jaguars mixed up. Could they not have had big cats in the American Southeast in such proximity? My brain cannot retain that. It's so yeah, it's like, wait, Panthers, Cougars,
Yeah, they look the same.
they look the same. They come from the same part of the country. Like, who is
Yeah, they're neighbors.
their neighbors? They're the
With the
probably
exception.
two most proximate, although no, in the Northeast, we're much closer in a way. Yeah, hello, New York, fake New York, New Jersey teams. But I asked you that, right? Like, why you didn't pick one of the New York teams?
No, I
Why'd you
just
pick the Bills?
because the Bills were a small town. It was smaller. It was more intimate. It was real. The Giants and the Jets seem so anonymous. There's like millions upon millions upon millions of Jets and Giants fans. I mean, New York
Oh,
City alone is like 10 million people. And I was like,
that's
no,
a really good point.
no,
I know
it's like
that,
a millions and millions of people. And I'm like, no, it was either if it wasn't going to be the Bills, the only other team I could possibly imagine, far, far away imagine, is maybe the Detroit Lions.
okay, but you're like dedicated to the mistakes on the lakes. So yeah, very blue collar, genuine.
Yes,
Let's talk about that in a second. The
grit. I love the grit.
grit. Oh yeah, I mean, what better hashtag, just I mean, yeah, and Detroit, Motown, Motor City, Rock City. I mean,
There's so
there's so
much
many,
culture there. It's bananas.
yeah. Yeah,
Bananas.
absolutely. Also, Detroit techno. Hello. Can I tell you a cool anecdote about how much are you into music? What do you know about techno?
Oh
Anything?
my God. Very
You're
little.
European, so very little.
I listen to a lot of house music.
That's Chicago, right? House came out of Chicago.
I like it a lot. Um,
So
there
Detroit.
so weird thing, right? I was born in Bucharest, which is Eastern Europe, and
Mhm,
there's a lot of house music in Eastern Europe, and there was a lot of techno there too.
mhm.
So, um, yeah, I like it, but I don't know too much about it.
Well, I'm going to tell you a little anecdote, but what my reaction about your like the Jets Giants comparison, which is the same for LA, right? Is like I think you're right. It's very hard for these fan bases to get traction because it's like it's like communism, you know? When everyone owns it, nobody owns it. So that's something that you'll understand, right? I
Yes,
did spend some time in Moscow, and it's like this is more your mom's generation and the generation before that and the generation before that, but the podъезд, the shared entrance of the apartment building, everyone owns it, but nobody owns it, which is why it kind of goes to pot, you know? That's the downside of communism. Everyone owns it, but nobody owns it. Until somebody really owns it, that's capitalism, right? That's mine. It's not taken care of. So I think that's a bit of that phenomenon. That anonymous thing is like it's way too big. It can't get
it's
the
not
same kind of
I can't
traction.
grab it. It's not, I don't feel like I can identify with it. I mean, and they're not a true New York team. I'm sorry, because they play in Jersey.
Hello. Thank you. Yeah, exactly. I mean, I
No,
just love that. That was my sign actually in London. I had a WNY sign I made out of a shopping bag. I just randomly was like, oh, we're gonna need a sign. So I just cut the shopping bag, in the length and did WNY. Welcome to New York, because we are the only team
true
from
New
New
York
York.
team.
And I don't know, I believe that people in Europe genuinely also don't know the difference between New York and Western New York, and that we are the only team actually physically in New York.
New York, yeah. I agree.
So,
No, but
and grit.
I don't like, I didn't like the anonymous aspect of the Jets. There was just no affinity there, zero connection. And with the Bills, I watched them and I was just like, I was captivated. Do you know what it means to be captivated?
I mean, that's so awesome
I didn't
because
know they were
we're,
going to win that game. I was just captivated. I was like, okay, when are they going to play again?
oh, how awesome.
Yeah.
Because we're on the inside of that whole, whether you call it mafia or what, the Bills Mafia is a relatively recent phenomenon. But,
Yes,
just
it's been since 2000 or 2003 or something. It's not that old.
something like that. Yeah. So, well, 20 years, that's a good long time. But
Yeah.
it's all new to me because when I left, it was no. So, yeah, we were kind of talking about that. What happened in the trough? Like, I mean, like I said, I was at the 1994 Super Bowl, and then I left. I went to Japan for a couple years to Moscow, and then met the dad of my two oldest kids, who's Belgian. So I ended up in Brussels, and that's like ancient history now. But I don't know anything about what happened in
During
that
that
intervening
time.
time. Yeah. I'm like, don't know, don't care.
No, yeah, we
Yes.
weren't supposed to be there, I guess, but
I guess not. And like we get to like enjoy the Josh Allen era. So, but I really love that it had that attraction for you just because it's genuinely a really awesome franchise.
yeah,
And
it is.
I hear that a lot. Like I hear people have their favorite teams, but everyone kind of has a soft spot for the Bills. Isn't that true?
Yeah, I have actually noticed I wear this when I go jogging. I can't tell you how many people stop me or toot their horn at me.
They're
Like, go Bills. Like, there's a lot of love for the Buffalo Bills. And I genuinely think that a lot of people really wanted to see us win that game versus Kansas City. And it just that's another one that's Kansas City is kind of like it's not really like New York Giants Jets teams, but it also feels bigger and more mainstream.
Yeah, I think for like the equivalent for me is the Cowboys of the, early years, the 70s to the 90s, that kind of dominance. And it's really interesting because it's I think geographically about Kansas City. And do note that this Kansas City is in Missouri, not Kansas. So I love that. I
It's
was
very
also thinking,
close.
yeah, yeah, they're really right across the state
Like
line.
right there.
It's Kansas City with the border running through it, right? So half is in Missouri, half is in Kansas. But
Weird.
the stadium is actually in Missouri, so I suppose that the franchise is based there. But more to the point is it is it's a no woman's land. Like it's the heart of the America, and there are no other teams nearby.
That's
I
true.
guess,
I didn't realize that.
let's think about, okay, there's Nashville, right? So that, well, where are the Titans based now?
Tennessee,
Memphis, sorry, Memphis, yeah. And then there's, think of Minneapolis, St. Paul, so the Minnesota
Indianapolis.
Vikings, right, are there. Yeah, Indianapolis is there. So maybe I'm exaggerating, and then you have all the way till you get to the Rockies, the Denver Broncos, and of course the Texas teams. But I'm just thinking, I don't know, it has a certain draw for like for middle America. Literally, it's like middle America. So it's just because I'm always thinking about those, the viewership, the dollars, what is driving the NFL machine. And that's what I wonder, like, so that's Arrowhead is the same size and the same age, by the way, as Rich Stadium, which it will always be for me in Buffalo. It's now the Ralph Wilson. Oh, actually, now it's Highmark Stadium.
It was the rock pile one, right?
It was called the Rock Pile back in the day, and then it was the War Memorial Stadium first ever. So it's gone through all these, different names, same place, same concrete piece of
Thing.
frozen, whatever.
Hold on, I gotta
Where,
lower my heat. It's too hot in here.
oh, okay. Or, you know, or take off layers because we all have like zillions of layers of Bill's gear, right? So
Yeah.
is this your favorite Bill's gear?
You know what? I have an interesting story to tell you.
Tell me.
So when I came here and I'm in Northern Virginia. So I wanted to, like I told you, I was watching football at home by
Wait,
myself.
wait, time out, time out. Can I ask you something? Do you mind doing the Bill's sister's ponytail? Because I think I'm gonna make that a thing.
I don't
Do you
mind.
mind doing a, I
I
don't
don't,
want to like put you in a, I don't want to pigeonhole you, but I was actually thinking, how cool would it be for this to be our secret sign? I randomly started doing this the first episode. I mean, I just happened to have done this to my hair.
what, like a Bill's,
A
that means I have
side,
to
a
do it to the
side,
left.
a side ponytail.
That means I have to do it to the left so that
No,
it can match
oh,
the screen.
no, no. If we're gonna match, you have to do it on your, oh
Am
wait,
I
you
right?
on your right. Mine's my left. How weird is that? Okay, I just dropped my headphone, but okay, this is gonna become a ceremony. That's what I was saying. Like everyone who does the podcast should have to put their hair to the side. Oh my God, that is so cool. I love it. We also need like a secret sign. Do the like, oh, I know what we can do.
I,
The
I was doing
W. Yeah. Big, when they do their big
big dub.
dubs. Yeah, they go big
I was always
dub.
wondering why they say that. And then I was like, oh, the W for the win.
Also, the W for Western New York,
Okay.
right? Because that was
Yeah,
also
that makes sense.
the double entendre of my sign that I made was also, it was a W. W. Win. New York, Western New York. Okay, let's do it together so we can go make a clip. Big dubs. That is so cool. Okay, you're the first ever, Gabriela, to do big dubs with me and the ponytail. Okay, we're gonna finish the discussion with this, with our hair like this, and I interrupted you, and I'm sorry.
No, it's
Pick
okay.
up.
So my first
Bill's
memory that
gear.
yeah, it was I had gone to see my nephews in North Carolina. It was Thanksgiving. And I was
Carolina
like,
Cougars.
yeah, and my nephews were like, "Oh, we want to go to the mall." And I'm like, "Cool." So I'm at the mall and we walk past this store which had all this cool football shit, like everything that you could possibly want in football they had, and they had tons of Bill's Mafia stuff, like stuff.
What?
Yeah, and I'm like in North
In
Carolina,
Carolina?
and it was just that was when I had bought my first long sleeve shirt and sweatshirt I bought from there. Yeah.
Oh.
And we played the Detroit
It
Lions.
worked. Look at the screen. It worked. Do
How
it
come it
yourself. See?
doesn't see when I do it?
Maybe it's a local setting. Maybe it's you have to
Maybe.
set it in your Zoom, but have a drink of that. And okay, where
I
are they
bought
now?
that stuff and I watched the Detroit Lions game. At that game, I remember turning to my nephew and I said, those Lions, they're going to be in the Super Bowl one day, very soon. And sure
Was
enough, they made it.
was Dan Campbell? So this was last year. Was this when
Yeah.
Dan Campbell was coaching them already?
Yeah.
Yeah, I mean,
2022.
tell me what you think about Dan Campbell and this whole journey to the playoffs of the Lions.
I mean, he's been really transformative, of course. I think that grit had a lot to do with it. And I think that he's extremely passionate. Some might argue that that might get him into trouble one day.
I mean, as long as you're making it to the playoffs in your second season, then,
Yeah.
he's also a former player, right? I don't remember his
I don't know who he played with,
bio.
but he's I don't know, he has so much soul and passion for that team. He really believes in them, and I just think that that really is kind of like the 12th man on the field, if you know what I mean.
Yeah.
What he sees, and that passion and drive is that determination, that motivation is just it's more than half the rent, as we say in German.
He was a New York Giants. He was drafted by the New York Giants in the third round of the 1999 NFL draft. And starting in 2000, he started 4 games and was part of the team that appeared in Super Bowl 35. He became their regular tight end in 2001. He played later for the Cowboys. He played for the Lions. He played for the New Orleans Saints. And his coaching career is Miami Dolphins, Saints, and now Lions. So you think that has something to do with, I mean, players love players. Let's face it, right?
But interestingly, in soccer, you players don't really make good coaches. They don't. They just
I
don't.
know. Well, it
Uh,
takes
it's a
two
whole
different
different
heads.
thing. Like you can't. I could hardly imagine seeing a Cristiano Ronaldo being a coach one day. Like it just
Well,
doesn't.
he's also super self-absorbed and not really a team player, right? So you could also talk about a tight end as being a more, I don't know, I mean, it's a different kind of role. It's not the star wide receiver. It's not the coach. I mean, it's not the quarterback. So, maybe you have a different view on the game when you're in that
Possibly, yeah.
role. Like,
I think
could you
it was
see Travis Kelce becoming a coach?
no,
I just had to throw that out there.
no.
I think
I
that I definitely
Maybe
think
because they're
that,
too young. I don't know.
oh yeah, good point. Because I mean, he was in the league for
Here's a
till
funny thing though. I could see Brady being a coach,
yeah, he's very cerebral, obviously, right? And
right? He's that, yeah.
thinking tactically and strategically about the game. I mean, and this is that, I mean, quarterbacks, right? Because they got to be able to think in terms of teams, at least of the whole offensive line and of the defense that you're seeing, right? So it's really the chess player kind of mindset. Um,
He's
do
probably
you
the only one I could imagine seeing that
being a
in that.
coach, a
Yeah.
quarterback, the quarterback who becomes a coach? Do you think, let's talk a little bit about that, the whole Bill Belichick business and his head coaching trajectory. Do you think that he rubbed off? Like, do you think like what Tom Brady now knows about football has to do with being coached by a dude like Bill Belichick? I mean, being coached by Bill Belichick, period. Question
I
mark.
think that I was away out of the States, so I didn't even live the Brady years.
Me neither, thankfully,
I
right?
feel
It's
like
like,
now I'm living
thank the goddess. Yeah.
the Mahomes years, but um I
But
think they
it could be
complemented each
worse.
other. I think they complemented each other, but there is something to be said about the fact that when Brady left, he won a Super Bowl in that first year in Tampa Bay.
I know that was insane,
And
dude.
that is that's a statement, man. That's a
Yeah.
really big ass statement in bold letters, and you can't argue that.
Well, yeah, there's a lot, and Bill Belichick has not succeeded since then. He's not had a winning season, or did he barely have a winning? I don't even know, but basically, it's like negligible. But there's a book that, interestingly enough, my dentist recommended that I read, which I went and read.
What's the
That
name of it?
is,
Wait a minute, I gotta write it down.
I'm gonna have to find it, but it's like it's basically the premise is it's about captains. So how critical, so this dude who did research on winning teams of all kinds, so
Right.
soccer, but also maybe rugby or polo or whatever, female, male athletes, and and deduced that the captain is the most critical player in terms of winning franchises. So not just a blip on the screen, which you could say that was the Tom Brady Tampa Bay TB squared, anomaly, but not necessarily, right? If he had stayed with it, which I guess Giselle would have died, right? Well, anyhow, we know what happened with that, but um this so the one recurring factor that contributed to long-term successful franchises is the captain role.
Interesting.
Yeah. So you got to have
Can
a good
captain be
coach.
someone other than the quarterback?
Well, yeah, my husband asked me this week about we've talked about the C patch. Have you seen that
Yeah,
on the jerseys, right? The C with the stars under it.
and I
And I was
usually
like,
see Alan has it.
yeah. So the C is the captain's patch, the C, and there's a star underneath for, I think, the number of seasons that you're the captain. And then after 4 seasons, the whole logo becomes gold. That means you've been like you've been a captain for 5 years or more. And so there's actually a standard behind it. And interestingly, not all teams participate in this captain brand thing, but you also have captains for different pieces of different squads, or I don't even know what they call those, groups on the team. So you have the captain of the defense, the captain of the wide receivers, maybe, the captain of the O line. So it gets a little bit, I don't want to say arbitrary, but maybe this is also why not all teams engage in it. But
Right.
I think it's a way to say, hey, you're a leader. And that's really important in terms of success, is because I think I want to say, who was it? There was a quote a couple weeks ago of a player who said, so and so is my boss, so meaning the head coach, but so and so, no, person number two is my captain, being the quarterback. So to really make the distinction between, the person paying my checks and the person who inspires and motivates me and leads me, every day. So it made me think again, yeah, that's the whole captain winner situation, which my dentist is actually a big basketball fan, basketball and baseball. So he doesn't really follow football, but he always, he always indulges me about the Bills. He's
That's
always
it.
like, yeah, yeah, yeah. He knows that I'm such a huge fan, and then he'll always ask me, or he'll have caught what's going on, and we'll chat about it. But so I will find that book, the title, and I'll put it in the notes from today. And that's so I know that when we talked, you were really miffed about what all went down in that game that we lost. And do you know that that has been a discussion about, with some speculation. Like, did
I
they
know what
throw
I
the
saw.
game? Yeah,
I
that's
know
I
what
know
I
what I
saw.
saw.
And on my heart, I'm an honest person and I will never lie. And I don't look for drama. I don't look for attention at all. Um, but I watched those few minutes several times. And it's always, I can't find a reason or an explanation for the choices that were made when there were clearly options,
Let's
valid.
take us back though. Take us back, describe the situation. That was the
So I'm
third and
seeing
9,
Jeff
or was it second and 9?
2nd and 9. I see Josh Allen has the ball and he's looking for someone to pass it to. And I see here he's looking. I see his head because they show his head all the time.
Mm-hmm,
And I see him looking at Dawkins, like you see him backing into you.
mm-hmm.
And I was wondering if, and I stand and I think about this when I go jogging. I kid you not. So I'm like, the other day I'm walking outside and I'm like, and I stood waiting at the traffic light to change as I was running. And I was like, I can see what's going on here. I can see what's going on there.
By the way, women have better peripheral vision than men, though. So just to not saying
Didn't know
every
that.
woman, but okay.
But I was thinking, okay, he's wearing a helmet.
Mm-hmm,
So
mm-hmm,
maybe he couldn't see him, but it's impossible because he was looking at him and you feel that he's backing into him. Like, why would you risk not taking a step, just a small step to your right, so you can, stand properly and throw like you would normally throw?
mm-hmm.
And then he throws, and it's like, okay, I know for a fact Shakir would have caught that. He was just sitting there basically drinking tea in the end zone. He was that wide open. I was like, okay. Interestingly, though, exactly at that moment, you see Diggs run across the field wide open.
Mm-hmm.
So he chose Shakir because he's in the end zone. And I kind of felt like, okay, I guess I could kind of understand that. But we had 2 minutes left to burn.
Mm-hmm.
So I'm just like, okay.
So
Wrong.
what's your theory? What's your takeaway from that? Like,
My feeling is he threw the game. on purpose. And I think that it's the Taylor Swift effect. I have no hate on this woman. I don't know her. But I remember when I saw that play, especially the 3rd and 9 was utter bullshit. I mean, I have a picture. There was a huge gap in the middle where he could have made a couple yards, surely, no doubt. And I'm like, this is the divisional game. There's 2 minutes left. You didn't
Plenty
even
of time.
try. You didn't even try. You always leave the pocket. He didn't leave the pocket. He grew roots. And I'm like, 3rd and 9, and I see all these, they show the camera back, and okay, he can't see what we can see, but that's why he has Joe Brady from, up there. He's in the box for a reason. He sees the field. Surely he's like, you got 3 players open, and Josh just throws it out of bounds on
But
the
here's the thing.
down.
I know. And by the way, we were watching that game together, right? And I really appreciate that you picked up all that detail in the midst of the hysteria, or is it because you went back and looked at the tape?
I went back to look at it because I
Okay.
didn't, when you're in
Because
that
you're like, yeah,
bar thing, you can't see all that. So I went home and I was like, that's what happened. I just
mhm.
remember the kid missed the field goal, but I'm also the way that he was lined up to kick was absurd. Why would you line up to kick on the far right? If you
There,
look at the
they don't have the choice. I mean, it's wherever the ball was last played. So that's a key thing, that it has to be on one hash or the other. So as I understand it, but I might be wrong. So, hit us in the comments. But wherever the ball was last played is the hash that they have to kick it from. But
I
you
can't
know that
understand it. What if it was played like way far over there?
they have to pick a hash. They have to pick,
Yeah,
the
so
little.
why pick the right one when he's kicking far right the whole night?
Well, they don't get to no, so I'm saying the refs pick the hash for whatever, so wherever the ball was last played, it's spotted on either the hash on this side or that side of the field. And but still to your point, so it was spotted on the right hash, I think, right? And he had been hooking it right
The whole
during the
evening
game.
it was going towards the
Fair
right, and
enough.
like,
And it might be his strategy, but in that case, of course, you got to compensate. You got to think, well, if I'm kicking from the left hash and it's hooking right, okay, then it'll
I
go
might be
through.
all right, yeah.
But if I'm kicking from the right, then actually it's a classic case of Lightning McQueen. I got to go left to go right, right?
I
I don't know.
agree with
That's
that. And that's
but
another
you
real
know the Lightning McQueen reference though? Cars, Disney cars. I have 4 kids, so that's how I know these things. Lightning McQueen,
that
he
is so
used to,
hilarious.
he would steer left when he's going super fast, steer left,
That's
and the
understand.
car would skid. So he'd do the corners
Mhm.
going left to go right. So same exact principle. You like kick left and hook it right,
But why
and it
do
goes
we know
through.
that and they don't? Like, come on.
They do, and that's kind of your point. I mean, certainly Tyler Bass knows that, but
Of course, that's
frankly,
his bread and butter. That's all he does. And I'm surely he was like, okay, I need to do this way. This is like, these guys are counting on this kick. And for as far as I understood, he's not very high in accuracy in the league. I think he's at 70 something percent.
that's not good at all, I think.
It's about 72%. I think he was better last season as far as I know, but
Here's the thing about that. They also measure accuracy and distance. So they say, oh, he's really good at, 40 plus yards, his accuracy is X, or you know what I mean?
yeah,
So,
and I'm sure that all of that whole thing plays a factor, and I know that Josh Allen knows that too. He knows, okay, if I don't get this down, which is completely absurd. I've never
and also have the ball spotted on the left hash. So that's the other thing. Wherever he's throwing from on the line of scrimmage is going
Yeah.
to determine where that ball is spotted for the
Yeah,
for
he
the
threw
field
right
goal.
out of bounds towards the right, which It
from
was
the left,
crazy.
from the right hash.
He had three players open on that 3rd and 9, and I keep watching that, and I'm just like, I don't understand. Did his brain just shut down? Is there something going on with him that we don't know about? Or did he just simply throw the game because of the Taylor Swift effect? I
So
also
can I want to use this because celebrity couples get the one name dealy, you know.
What do you mean the
If
one
you
name Keely?
celebrity couples, they have the one name, like Brangelina,
Oh, okay.
and so I'm going to be the first on record calling them Trailer.
Traylor.
I thought of it yesterday. I mean, I did a whole like rant about this exact thing, which, and people don't seem to be able to distinguish between this is not hate for Taylor Swift. It's actually hate. It's, despising the NFL for so gratuitously, riding her coattails to get more viewership, right? And then what the retribution, like what the fallout is for
For
all of
doing
the
that.
teams and the fans of those teams for all the rest of the league, right? And no one more than the mafia, no one more than the Bills Mafia, because then it's like, man, all of this energy and time and resources invested in building this incredible franchise that we have under Josh Allen, or behind Josh Allen, under Sean McDermott, can just be like swept away like that
Like we don't
because,
even matter because of this one person, and
it's like, let's be fair. It's, like I said in my earlier podcast today, it's about, again, it's about viewership. And it's kind of like I was saying, the studio couples of old time Hollywood, where they'd match up a male and a female and say, they're now the face of our studio. And it's the same thing. It's like, this is the face of the Kansas City franchise, is a young woman who has a global reputation, right?
oh yeah,
So
people know her in every pocket of the world. Nobody knows who Travis Kelce is in Nigeria.
yeah,
Be serious.
exactly. So
There are
I
people
I
in the United
quoted
States
you.
who don't know him, you know?
Yeah, I quoted you on that. Yes, actually earlier today about that, or yeah, that was yesterday, actually,
No,
on
it's true.
Nigeria.
Like she's global. She's on a whole different trajectory. I don't have an issue with that. I just know this. Is my last point about that game. After that 13-second loss, that was what we call in Eastern Europe a spiritual loss. That hit your soul, okay?
Moral
It
loss? Because
was
we keep talking about moral victories, but like, what's the opposite of that?
yeah, it was this
Mm,
was like it was a spiritual loss,
spiritual
just like
loss.
World War II was a spiritual war. Like that was crazy. It was a that had something to do with somebody's soul, people. But
Mhm.
with this loss the other night, I didn't feel like our team was really mourning. I watched them. I didn't
I
see them
mean,
mourning. Stefan Diggs disappears. That's an interesting thing. I understand he dropped so many passes, which is also very unlike him. I mean, okay,
five.
I understand one or two drop passes, but all of them is absurd.
He caught three. But about Steph is they had him running routes that is just not him either. So you could chalk that up to Joe Brady, like, screen passes to Steph Diggs. For me, that's like um a stallion running dog and pony routes, like, why would you do that even? So that always, each time that happened, that made me like, what? You know? Khalil
Very odd.
Shakir, I see there's like, and bless you, and
Thank you.
Sherfield and Murray, those are all like kind of, or the slot receiver, Cole Beasley kind of routes, but that's not really Steph Diggs, right? And then the one that was like the signature 17-14 connection, bless you. God, I hope you're not getting what I'm getting. More Aperol Spritz. No, it'll kill
I
all
had a girl
everything.
here the other night. When was it? What's today? Tuesday?
Today is Tuesday, yes.
I don't know when she was here. I think it was Sunday.
So
Sunday?
three days ago.
Oh, Saturday, maybe?
Hmm.
She was here and she just texted me that she has COVID. I'm like, great. You were at my house.
Oh,
Well, I
whoops,
had it for
because
Christmas, so I'm hoping I still have the immunity going on.
okay. Oh, I hope so too, man.
Okay,
Plus,
sorry.
okay. Yeah, it's fine. No, I mean, also this crazy weather, I'm kind of like, is it spring? Is like everything blossoming also, and we're just having allergies? Nuts, girl.
I
This is
don't
like,
know. I don't know the plays well enough to say, but I have heard people say that the play calling from Joe Brady was pretty conservative for that game.
sure, yeah. Hmm.
Odd.
But that's kind of his shtick now, is like, it's take what the defense is giving you. Um, it was, so-called dink and dunk, so short yardage. Sorry, I'm getting a call. I'm being man interrupted again. Same man. It's always the same man. He's on the other side of the country now, and still maybe there's something that he desperately needs, but he can wait. Uh, take what the defense gives you. So take those short yardage opportunities and grind out the clock. So I really understand that philosophy that, I referenced this in another podcast too, that's very Belichickian, or it's actually Belichick. So being from that part of the world, we appreciate, where did they get Belichick? Anyhow, Belichick. Um, take away what they're good at, right? And so the idea was to keep Patrick Mahomes off the field, um, and also spare our beleaguered Bills defense. So the fact that we had 37 minutes of possession in that game means that that strategy
Was
was
working.
successful. It was successful. And actually, this is something I wanted to cover in my first podcast on, I think it was the 26th of January, but I never got to it. I got so like, well, distracted, that each time, so this is the strategy to run out the clock
Mhm.
is when you're in the lead, right? You get enough points on the board, it doesn't even have to be comfortable, because what's comfortable about against Pat Mahomes? Nothing, right? Because we
Yeah.
know what he is capable of, and especially when the refs are also wearing red and gold jerseys under their other tunics or whatever the heck they do. But so I've played a lot of team sports. Unfortunately, my kids didn't go in the same direction, but I've literally, I was the neighborhood quarterback. So hello, women in football. Um, and what was I going to say? Yeah. And, my dad called play by play as well, just like my uncle did. My dad did radio play by play. So he had a lot of insight into sports and he loved it. He loves sports. I love sports.
Mhm.
And I was fortunate to be good enough that I could play like everything. I never thought that anything was not open to me. So, one of the strategies is when you are in the lead, that you keep the lead by running out the clock.
That makes
And
sense.
and one of the things I said to my husband, I'm only calling him my husband, not to be pejorative, but I don't want to share his name in case he doesn't want that. I have to ask him. But one of the things I was telling him that entire game with you right at the same table was, this is something you do when you're in the lead. So in the second half, I mean, we were trailing, right? and or that the fourth quarter too, that whole 9-minute drive that you're talking about that ended in fiasco, we were not leading. So it was really hard for me to digest even, like, why are we bleeding the clock when we don't have the lead? And of course, that's a strategy. Keep Patrick Mahomes off the field, keep our decimated defense off the field, engineer the game to get down into scoring range and score, and don't leave enough time on the clock for Patrick Mahomes to come back and feed us our dinner. Well, I
That's
mean,
exactly what you did.
which is exactly what happened. Actually, no, we ate our dinner, I guess. Like, uh, I mean, I can't even continue with that analogy because
But we could
we
have scored.
choked. We choked. Like, so everything. And you know what, Gabriela, I would love to know, because this is the coaching job, right? This is the job of coaches, is like, it's all mathematics. And, where were the next gen stats then? I mean, they must be getting it. This must be the job of offensive coordinators and trickling down into the organization, but feeding back up to the head coach when it's this amount of time left on the clock,
What
and
do
this
you?
is the
Yeah,
score, and that's your opponent. What do you do?
they gotta
Can
have
you
AI for that these days.
exactly? So this is what Joe Brady is looking at, right? Like, do we continue to run out the clock even though we are behind? And as long as they're maintaining that 8-9 minute scoring drive, in theory, it should have been a scoring drive, right? As long as they're maintaining that drive, as long as they're maintaining possession, then everything's okay. You're doing what you need to with the idea of getting into scoring range. So either a field goal or a touchdown. And my only answer to your assessment of that situation is, that Josh is thinking when it's 2-9, he's thinking win it, win it with a touchdown. So let's give him the benefit of the doubt, right? That he did get, because your eyes are up here, but it was D-Doc's foot that kind of stepped on his calf. But you're right. He's got like
He's got
spidey
this
sense.
vision.
He's
Yeah,
got spidey senses. No, he's in the freaking pocket. That is his job. And to scramble, which we know he's like the best in the league at that. Not only to scramble, but to freaking score. So yeah, a zillion
for that
questions.
moment. He's made for that moment.
So all of your thoughts, like everything that you've seen up until now about how he behaves in such situations, would make you think A to B. So he's got two things. He's either going to scramble and make that first down, which he's done better in worse situations, right? Than that.
Exactly. Like,
And the
hello, I don't know
Dolphins,
this guy.
and then you're like, yeah, so you don't need to, we don't even need the camera behind him where we get that like empathy shot. Like, okay, we get, what his situation is. We don't even need that because we've seen him do so much better
Look at
in
this.
similar situations before. Yeah. Now it's
Dawkins
not,
walking towards him.
but I mean, backing into him, which is,
He's
yeah,
backing
which he
into him.
does all the time. I mean, every play, D-Doc
But
is
look at that
backing into
gap.
Josh.
It just
Just,
he would
on
take
your
off in
phone,
such a situation.
I can't see far enough downfield on your phone, so we should just pull up the video. I wonder, do you mind experimenting? That's the thing
I
though, is
don't, but I'm gonna send this to you so you know what I'm
NFL
talking.
footage. I mean, I think you did send it, which got us all on that tirade about. And also, I have to share screen. I wonder if I can do it. Let's just see.
Yeah.
And there's pictures of us. That was all really fun. And
You
there's some.
just yeah. If you can pull up, because I would love to learn what that was all.
Let
Yeah.
me see if I can use the technologies. Share screen, obviously. So that's the image, right?
Yeah. And I
Do you
just
see it?
in such a situation, he would run straight down that field, or at least try. I
Yeah,
mean,
it
okay,
looks like, look, yeah, that opening right down the middle, right? It's like,
I don't expect him to score a touchdown, but this is Josh Allen we're talking about. He
yeah.
could have at least gotten closer, and I don't believe that, mind you, this is 2nd and 9. He would have gotten so close to getting that first down. But yeah, chose not to. I don't know.
And I mean, I think another one of the issues is like how quickly he is releasing, right? So right there in that image, you see he's got an opening that he could just take.
He
And
was looking, did you see his head where he was looking? You
yeah,
can't tell
yeah,
me you didn't see Dawkins was backing into him.
yeah. I think I totally agree that he knew that. There's no way that he could not know that. But then it's like, well, what do you do knowing that fact?
I feel
How
like he was looking for Shakir.
I do too, yeah.
I feel like
And
that's who he was looking for.
and
Which,
isn't that what he did though? I mean, because then he did throw it to the end zone
mhm.
and it was short.
It was to the ground. Like it
Yeah.
was
It
down.
was like a sinker. It went near bunk like that, right?
I was just like, you just saw Dawkins might be coming towards you. And I'm sorry, but if I'm standing here, right, and I have the ball in my hand and I can feel that somebody's coming towards me, automatically out of reflex you would move. Your reflex would cause you to move, especially if you're a quarterback.
Yeah.
Just out of reflex, you know what I'm saying? Because
Also, and um he could have run it and that would have worked with the eating up the clock um strategy, right? So you run the
yes,
ball.
that was the actual point of probably eating up time, getting closer to
Mhm,
that
mhm.
that
And second
end
and
zone.
9, we know that, we know 9 yards and he can definitely do that. Or he would have gotten some, yeah, he would have made some yardage, which would have gotten us closer to the field goal and also to
The first
the
down.
left hash. Because you see where he's standing. He is on the right hash there. And they know that's the other thing is between the kicker and the quarterback. Trust me, Josh Allen knows where Tyler Bass wants to be kicking from.
Mm.
And also in the stadium and on that day, there's definitely communication between the safety, I mean, sorry, with the special teams and the quarterback about where Josh needs to end up with that ball. But of course, it's still second down. So it's not third down, not fourth down.
It's
But
true, but in that picture I sent you, keep in mind there's spies in the right side of the picture. So he might have not been able to make the first down, but I'm pretty sure that he would have gotten really freaking close. You
yeah,
see
and
the spies in the right?
yeah. And that's kind of beside the point too, isn't it?
Yeah,
Because
because I mean it was 9 yards for crying out loud.
mhm,
It was 9 yards and it was another opportunity. And he's look at his head. He's looking towards
mhm.
the left. He was looking for somebody, and I'm pretty sure it was Shakir.
Well, right
Right.
there, I can't quite make out the number, but it kind of looks like Dalton. So it looks like 86. I think
80.
it looks like he's looking at Dalton, to be
Yeah.
honest, which also would have been an option, but I can't really see it. And I gotta say, one of my, I'm sure that they've like rehashed this on cover one. I
Hmm.
really love that. They do like
What's cover one?
it's a YouTube channel where they also they really cover the X's and O's, and those guys are awesome. They
I
do
got
some, yeah, you would like it because it's a really great way to learn, frankly.
yes.
And they unpack the whole game from the X's and O's perspective, and they pull the data from, I want to say it's the pro football. Oh, I looked these guys up earlier today too. I'm gonna have to find the name, but there's there's a website with all the data of all the games, including by player, and you can, it's like a freemium. Like if you pay more, you get more data that you can manipulate and stuff. So the Cover One dudes use that data, and they also have the tape of the games. And if I'm not mistaken, so of course the NFL has to let you. So technically, we're not allowed to use these images. People are not allowed to share pictures or video without the express written consent of the National Football
Didn't
League,
know that.
as you know.
Yes, I
So,
now know.
but those guys, they have that tape. It's really interesting too, because they have it's like there's like a blurb on the top of the tape that will tell you the player, the downs, the yardage, and even some more higher end stuff. So there's a lot of data being captured and shared at a price, I guess, for different players, different games. And the Cover One guys look at all that, they review the tape, and they do in-depth analysis on it. And yeah, I think they're just really fantastic. And I'm sure they've picked apart that whole series of downs, which was the monstrous ending of our season. And so what do you think? You think Josh threw the game?
Yeah, I think he threw the game. You know what, another aspect that I didn't throw in here because we got into more of the plays, but our behavior gives us away.
You
And
mean your and my, or do you mean whose
people,
behavior? Every people,
behaviors,
anyone. Hmm.
they give you away. You might say something, but your behavior is really the truth about
Yes.
things.
Actions speak louder than words.
Yes. And the thing is that that whole suite, Kelce, Swift, the Mahomes family, these people were partying the whole damn time. And I understand they came to have a good time, but this is a serious game. It's not just a regular season game. But they came with this celebratory attitude
Almost
from
like they
jump.
knew that they were going to the AFC Championship.
Exactly. And that's why I'm just like, listen, I know it sounds like I'm a conspiracy theorist, but I'm just adding up all the pieces, putting them down and looking at them. The only other explanation you could possibly have is that Josh Allen really choked in that moment, or he had a blackout or something. Highly unlikely. I'm sorry.
Agreed. Also, his reaction at the end, it sucks. It sucks. I mean, that you could say generally, right? That's like, it sucks that I'm in this position. It sucks that I had to do that. It sucks that
Yeah, he just said losing sucks. And I was like, what? Like, I'd be crying. I wouldn't even want to talk to anybody.
Okay,
Like,
well, that's
did you
that's
see Dan
Diggs though.
Campbell's reaction though? That's somebody who's mourning a loss.
Hmm.
Okay. Dan Campbell's reaction to that, even though nobody expected the Lions to get where they got. Uh, sorry. I just, it felt like he just wanted to get the shit over with.
Hmm.
And
Yeah,
I
yeah.
don't know. And my whole feeling is okay, then Kansas City goes into Baltimore, and the Baltimore Ravens were like practically 1940 Nazi Germany in the NFL. And then the Kansas City Chiefs just go in there and like, yeah, we're gonna just take it and bye. Next stop, Vegas. Like,
The Americans in Belgium, right? The Battle of the Bulge.
it's
Yeah,
crazy.
yeah, I'm not sure who's wearing which uniforms in this discussion, but it was also, yeah, it's almost like when you already know that you have the golden ticket in your back pocket, then
They
everything
have a
else is
certain posture.
gravy. Uh-huh.
They had a
Yeah.
posture, and I was
Hmm.
watching their posture. I also saw our team was kind of like not really,
In it.
it wasn't that sincere.
Was it revealing that, because Stefan Diggs, like I also said,
He
he
disappeared.
no, he was in the locker room. He was in the locker room, but he did not take interviews. So that's the difference. He was there, but he would not talk to anyone on camera. So what do you make of that?
It's also really very interesting because I don't
But
think that this,
he had a press conference today, which I didn't watch, that I really want to. By the way, I'm gonna watch that when we get off because I want to see. Actually, we could just pull it up and see if I can find it.
yeah,
Um,
because I would, he's had losses before, right? He's
yeah,
experienced loss
yeah.
before. He's
Last
played
playoff, oh my
before.
God, the
Yeah, he
Bengals
was.
loss. He just walked off the field, right?
I mean, I
He
know
packed
that this
his
guy, he's a
bags.
hard-nosed competitor, but the fact that he walked off the field like that, and refused interviews, that's very telling, I think. But I don't know what he's trying to say by that.
Well, you know, I think maybe he's just at a loss for words, like as we all are, or maybe it's just this situation where you're like, like my mama told me, if you can't say something nice, don't say anything at all,
Amen.
so it's
Right.
like, I'm out. And
Yeah.
I don't disrespect that actually,
No, it's
but
genuine. It's
yeah,
real. That's how the guy felt at the moment. And he was like, you know what? I'm not gonna sit here and try to be all Mr. Professional on the camera when clearly either he felt really shitty about himself or he probably was like, I did what I had to do. Now get that camera out of my face.
yeah,
We don't know the truth, but the fact that the Chiefs are in the Super Bowl, no big surprise for me.
right,
I am
right.
not surprised
So
at all. I think that the Chiefs are a great team. They're a great organization. He's a great quarterback. Personally, I don't like the guy. I don't think that I can't respect an athlete that on camera says, I would much rather play football than play in the garden with my kids. I can't, honestly, I can't
he
really
said
respect,
that.
yeah, at a press conference
I didn't know that.
on
Wow.
national television. And the journalist was like, I really hope that his kids didn't hear that.
Wow.
It's a crummy thing to say.
That really is. I mean, just yeah, but okay. I agreed. Let's just say I agree with you, and let's just leave it at that. But there is more to this, and I don't think it's conspiracy because I really think it is about following the money. And
Yes,
like I said yesterday, the NFL really is serious about expanding its global impact and influence, as seen by, of course, the growth of the overseas games, ownership overseas, this whole, player cultivation pathway. So bringing people from overseas into the NFL, which is also really interesting. Like I just saw, I think he's a Welsh rugby player, maybe, who's like, getting into this kind of player development protocol from overseas. So there's that. And yeah, flag football in the Olympics, dude, that just like is a huge breakthrough. So all of that looks really promising. And, that's also why I'm saying if you're going, when you go back to Europe, how cool would it be to get involved in the globalization of the NFL?
I
Because
would love to do that.
wouldn't you though?
Yeah,
And
I
yeah,
would. I have passion for that. I don't know. I'm not knowledgeable enough yet. I'm learning from you, from all my Build sisters that I met throughout the time I was here. And I watch every game. I don't understand everything they're doing, but I'm like, okay, I know for a fact, I can honestly tell you that seems odd. That's off. That doesn't look right.
Well, it doesn't even matter about because this is also just about pure marketing, pure engagement. And that's why, hence Taylor Swift, because that's a no-brainer. She's a young woman. Like I said yesterday, too, the women are half of the NFL fan base. it's again not reflective in the organization
That's a
and the
lot. That says a lot.
administration. And yeah. So hello, where is our voice? Like in coverage, right? Just the stuff that we're doing right now, because it's like such a male locker room, and also advancement priorities and their efforts around diversity and inclusion. I mean, they are trying. I got to give them that. But and I think flag football is a big breakthrough there, because obviously that's like um the teams that are being showcased right now are women's teams in flag football. I would love to just coach flag football, for just to be back kind of involved in the game. But I don't think that the game level knowledge is necessarily pertinent to the league and franchising clubs. This is really about marketing and outreach and engagement and business development. And I hope at least that the NFL is looking at, we need people who come from diverse backgrounds, who are multilingual, who have an affinity for the game. Yeah,
Mm.
amen. If it's the Buffalo Bills, even better, because it's a powerful brand right now. It really is. It's not just us saying that. This is a fact, the
A lot
the
of people have a
Kansas
lot of
City.
respect for the Bills. I see that a lot, to be honest.
Well, the league looks at, like I said, viewership. Over 50 million people watched the playoff game between Kansas City and Buffalo. I
They
don't
said it
know.
was the most watched divisional game in NFL history.
There you go. And
And
the follow-up is, how many watch the AFC Conference Championship, though? How many people watch the Ravens Kansas City game?
they also said that was the most watched in NFL history. And it
Okay.
has to do with her.
So AFC, yeah.
It has to do with
Conference.
her. And that's why she was at every game. I mean, I was asking a friend of mine, how often did you see Giselle when Tom Brady was playing? You
It's
know,
just not the same
no, because she didn't have that global
appeal.
footprint. Yeah.
Yeah. And okay, so the championship game average 55 million viewers on CBS. And
I think ours had 56.
Bills, I'm gonna look it up. Bills Chiefs divisional round viewership it's 50 million. So still a difference of 5 million between those two games. And if you're the NFL, that's what you're looking for. You're really, because it's not the viewership per se, but it's the sponsorship that drives. And then, all the corollary stuff, including gambling, because
People are buying Kelce jerseys just because they're Swift fans. Can you imagine this?
I mean, yeah, I can. It's a formula that works. It always has, celebrity marriages, celebrity engagements. And then that's like a mashup between sports and, I mean, hello, why am I Posh Spice,
Victoria Beckham.
Victoria Beckham. Well,
And
now she's Beckham, right? But also Gisele Bündchen, she's worth more than Tom Brady is.
I didn't know
Same,
that. I knew she was very successful, but I didn't know she was worth more. But I thought she was a heavyweight in her,
yes, she's
which I
worth
love.
more.
I
But
love that about her.
yeah, however, now how much has she compromised all those years of, like, catering to his professional, personal commitments, passion, That's why I was saying in our chat, like, what was revealing is she was like, okay, are you happy now? This is it now, right? That was like, we should find the exchange when he won the Super Bowl with Tampa Bay. And she's like, basically saying, now you've proven it to yourself. Can we move on from this, please? So, and how many years that she had to kind of put her own, but that's such a trope. It really is. This is like
I
Welcome
don't
to women
understand that
in
though.
media.
Yeah.
Let me see if I can find the video for that after Tampa Bay Super Bowl win. Let's see if I
But what
can
was she
find
gonna
it.
do with Tom Brady after he retired? I mean, it's like, what do you want to do with this guy? He's gonna be in your hair now every day.
You mean she wouldn't have been happier if he'd
No,
stayed
after a while, she's like,
full-time
you know what? Why
employed?
don't you go play football or like coach the team or something?
Well, I mean, I'm not sure that coaching is the most thankful job, to be honest. I think it must be even worse than aha. She asked him, "What more do you have to prove?"
Hmm. When did she ask him that?
After they won the Super Bowl as Tampa Bay.
But she
So
divorced him by then, no?
no. It was the year after that when he was unsuccessful. Or maybe it was even 2 years. I don't know, because remember he retired and then he unretired. And then
Yeah, it was weird.
the it was post unretirement that she was like, I'm throwing in the towel on this. So I mean, 2 years is a long time, I guess, because when you have family and what I said about, men actually helping to raise the kids, and I'm not saying anything about him as a father, because, we've seen images of him being him with his kids, but time away is time away. One of my old boyfriends used to talk about, let's have quantity time together. Because that used to be a thing, right? Quality time. So quality time trumps everything. No, it's not true. It's really, it's nuts and bolts stuff. Just being there for someone that you love, spending time with the person you love. It's like you
Mhm.
said, actions speak louder than words. You can say
Yeah,
all
they
you
do.
want.
They give us away.
Yeah.
People
And you
slip
can
up.
you can talk about your aspirations and whatnot, how good of a person you want to be, but like if you're just not actually there, then you're not there. And kids don't forget that kind of crap. It's formative, right? And maybe she just got tired of overlooking it, which I can understand. And so there are these precedents. Okay, so there's the Hollywood studio precedent to like leverage these couples to drive viewership, right? I think it still happens in Hollywood too. Like, when these two, Ryan Gosling and Lady Gaga, do A Star is Born, and then they happen to fall in love during the filming of the movie. And then, what sells tickets
That
better
was
than
a
that?
rumor, wasn't it?
It was a rumor, but I mean, that's just the
People
thing.
went with it though.
Is it real? Is it not real? Doesn't matter because I mean, people want to know. It gets the discussion
But
going.
people really
And
wanted that to happen.
engagement drives viewership. So it doesn't matter. And that's the whole thing is like, well, so I pulled up the video of them after maybe I should, is that also NFL? So I discussed it. I didn't actually bring it. Video of, wait, Kelce and Taylor post AFC.
Oh
Let's
my
see,
God,
the
when
AFC.
they kissed on the field?
Uh-huh.
Yeah, that was
Well,
interesting. I think I'm not watching the Super Bowl because I have a feeling this kid's gonna whip out an engagement ring and we're all gonna die. Taylor will marry me. You know he's gonna do it, right? You do know that.
oh my. Hey, do you follow the Kelce Brothers podcast?
New Heights, I haven't, but I think I would like to.
Is that what it's called? New Heights?
It's called New
Um,
Heights. And you know what he did say on that podcast was
what?
he told his wife, I think her name is Kylie or Kaylee.
Hmm. Hmm.
He told her that before they got to the stadium, I'm gonna jump out of the suite.
Oh, so
You see what I'm saying?
she knew.
She knew, and they were already in this like celebrity, like they were celebrating already. And I'm
Yeah,
like,
yeah, 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 yeah. I mean,
he was
yeah,
hanging with the Bills Mafia, drinking out of a bowling ball and doing all this stuff. And everybody was like, oh, Jason Kelce's the
I mean, I
coolest dude.
saw that, and frankly, I thought it was really cool to have like for him to be leaning into the whole mafia,
Yeah, it would have been
tailgating thing.
if they
So
lost. They put them on. So I'm like, get the hell out of here. You don't need to be drinking from our bowling ball.
That's
You know,
so on point. Oh my glob. Yeah. I'm gonna just play this. Should I? I don't know if I need the audio, but with cred to entertainment tonight.
yeah, everybody wanted to see this.
Let's see. Okay, I guess that's okay. Before we all puke. No, I'm just kidding. Just what
They do make a cute couple though.
they
It
do,
feels real.
and honestly, I just thought it's so genuine. I don't, and who are we to begrudge love? Because,
No, we
right?
don't. I'm
That's
just pissed
the
off when it mixes into my bills.
right. So that's the bottom line. And poor, I mean, because apparently there was a whole um some hateful words exchanged,
Towards her from our fans.
not our fans. I think this was at after the AFL victory.
Oh, in Baltimore. I heard she
Yeah,
was a little shook, you know. That
just
was
a little. Um, I'm not gonna I'm not gonna pull that up because I don't always like to like be, support these kinds of things, but and it wasn't really completely clear that that was what the exchange was about, but it was like you ruined our lives and her saying I had nothing to do with it. And I think this is also
I
like, for our football lives, let's
no, but she
um
replied to it or what?
it wasn't clear from the video who was saying what, and it was kind of a jumbled thing. So it was like, is this even real? It probably
Yeah.
isn't even real, but it's kind of expressing a sentiment that everyone is feeling. And
Uh-huh.
also her too, like I didn't, so and I tried to share my podcast link from yesterday on the Bills Mafia Babes group on Facebook, and they rejected it and said I should include it under the Taylor Swift thread because there's so much going on about this. And I mean, I think it's like it is really important to say that we don't feel anything. If anything, I totally respect her. I respect her and love her and admire her. And like, I can't say enough. I only know like one of her songs, but that's not really the point. It's more like what you're saying is if the NFL is manipulating this situation that is going to cause a lot of chagrin among other teams and other teams' fans, then that is what, as Josh said, sucks. So that's his blanket reaction. And it's our reaction too, because there's a lot of nuance in what he's saying. This sucks, you
Yeah,
know?
I didn't see that until you just said it.
That's what I meant. Is it's like his blanket statement, like this sucks. Sucks that we're in this position, sucks that we lost, sucks that we had to lose. It could be, and it's kind of when he goes, I don't want to say catatonic, but he just goes really unemotional. There's
Exactly. And that's what I'm saying. Our behavior gives us away. It says more than what you're actually saying.
right. I mean, yeah, like body language, all that. Yeah, yeah, yeah. Yeah, absolutely. And what more can you say? And then if you're someone like Steph Diggs, you don't want to say anything because that
No,
capped off a pretty shitty second half of the season for him. It was like, and I don't know how much I excuse that, to be honest. I'm not, I'm also like, if you're the big cheese, you have to you have to fucking deliver. I mean, you have to deliver in the first place, but you also have to like be there when shit hits the fan too. This is leadership. You take,
Accountability.
yeah, you take accountability. You take the smack on the nose if that's
Yeah.
what it is, you know? And that's, I also expounded upon how I've loved to see his evolution this season when he wasn't like, give me the ball, you know, and being really in Josh's face, because that's not nice for Josh either. That's really hard for a quarterback. I understand you got the pressure of wide receiver one, and then to be in his face and I mean, it's a weird thing. There's a lot of psychology going on, and they're young kids too, relatively speaking,
Yeah.
so they also are making it up
And
as
there's
they
an
go a
enormous
bit.
pressure that is even more.
Huge pressure, huge
Yeah.
pressure. Yeah, I also talked about that, about these kids who come out of sports families. They can manage that a lot better. Patrick Mahomes, Joe Burrow, Jalen Hurts, they come out of sports families. So they can deal with this a lot better, I think, than Josh can. He's not quite as well equipped. Not yet. He's still on that curve. And I wish he knew that. I wish someone would tell him that. But at the same time, I can't really forgive Stefan Diggs for like, I mean, I've loved seeing that he's been more of a team player, that he hasn't been like the ball hog, throw it to me. He's really tried to see himself as a piece, a component in a larger whole, like a team player. I really have sensed that from him, also from his interviews. That's why I really want to see if he had a press conference today and what he might have said. Maybe it was just, my algorithm sending some garbage in my feed that wasn't there. But yeah. Uh, yeah. I mean, if they
I'm excited
imagine that,
for the season.
what you're excited for next season? Are you following? So today was the Reese's Senior Bowl. Did you hear about that?
No.
It's apparently, so I guess I want to say is it college? I mean, high school seniors, maybe.
No, I didn't. I'm worried about finding a proper way to get rid of my car. So I had to go around to dealerships to see what they offer me for my car because I need to get rid of it and I'm still
Oh,
getting lowballed. So this is like a worry on my mind. That's why I told you I was running errands.
oh. Well,
So
maybe
I'm
we can have an offline conversation about that. You want
yeah.
to dump your used car on me? I could use one. But let's have a separate conversation about that. But the Reese's bowl, they're Reese's cups actually, and always will be. They won't even be Reese's pieces in my book, because Reese's were my dad's favorite candy, and he would actually censor all of our Halloween bounty and pick all the Reese's cups out of it. But apparently, so this is something that has been going on a while, but so they're having a meetup of all of the most promising, I would say college seniors, but college seniors are the ones who are going into the draft. So it must be high school seniors. So that's kind of on the news wire today. There's been movement in the Bills leadership. Did you hear about that?
I
Oh,
did.
no, you didn't. You did?
I did.
Oh, yeah, you sent me a link about that too, right?
Yeah.
Bobby Babbage.
I don't know him. I don't know if this is great news, neutral news, or we will see news.
Yeah, I looked at some of the talking heads on that and they're pretty excited, but then I'm like, but why? Why? Only because he was already in the organization and he's staying in the organization. So is that a good thing? I don't know. I'm more worried about Ken Dorsey going to the Browns. And there is the discussion of the Dolphins. The Dolphins interviewed Leslie Frazier.
Yes, I heard about that.
So I don't know if you have a take on either of those things, or
I always thought that Frazier was doing a good job, but I heard that he couldn't get along with McDermott. I don't know.
well, there were some rumblings about McDermott micromanaging.
I
I
could see
mean,
that.
yeah, I mean,
We're all like, yeah, I could totally see
yeah,
that.
he actually did all the play calling for the defense this year. So that's definitely micromanaging, right? And if he has a difference of opinion with the defensive coordinator, well, that's going to cause some flack. But you know, Leslie Frazier was a very successful defensive coordinator. And if
I
he
mean,
goes
that's what I thought.
elsewhere, yeah, from what we can see on the surface, right? But if he goes elsewhere, particularly in the AFC, they have like, inside whatever inner circle intel on the Buffalo Bills defense, and on our offense. So that's, yeah, really,
Comfortable.
yeah, uncomfortable. And it's the Dolphins talking to him. So like, wow. And then, and I don't know about you, but
Dorsey at the
when I
Browns.
first, oh, and Dorsey at the Browns, same thinking, right? Let's get
Did
the
he?
inside track on.
He didn't go to the Browns. I think he went to the Bears, which we don't care about.
Did he go to the Bears?
I think he went to the Bears.
I mean,
I swear he went to the Bears. Look it up.
fire Luke Getzey and hire Ken Dorsey. Wait, that was a rumor. Uh, oh no, see, look, no. So that was a discussion. He must have interviewed with them, but with the Bears, but no, he was hired by the Browns, according to
Are you
Around the NFL on NFL.com, Michael Baca.
Yeah,
So
thought I saw
so
Bears.
Dorsey went to the Browns, and of course I then launched into the whole discussion about Deshaun Watson, and let's not go there. And we've been on here a long time, so we could talk forever,
I know,
but we
right?
should wrap it up because you have important things to do, and it's really late. And also, we need to do this again, right? I mean, I think we should do it again when you're maybe before you go to Germany, but definitely after you go to Germany, because Bill's sisters are universal. The Bill's sisterhood is universal, right?
And I need it. I'm gonna need you guys when I
You're
go.
gonna need it. You're definitely gonna need it. And we are here for you, my sister. And you can also like and subscribe and follow and comment and whatever, because until the AIs get all that data up there, we're not going to get viewers and we're not going to get sponsorship. And that's going to be the only way to make this sustainable. And man, it would be cool to have like a global sisterhood team, wouldn't it?
What?
That would be
Big
so cool.
toes, big toes.
Big toes. Flash the ponytail.
Yeah, should be on the side because we're different.
Because we're different. We roll like that.
Yeah.
Thank you, Gabriela. I really loved this. My first ever guest on the Bill Sisters podcast. I'm gonna shut it down, but you stay on the line because there are, of course, rewards for being on the show.
What do you mean rewards? I would do this any day, anything for my bills.
All right, girl. I'm gonna hold you to that. I'm
Yes.
gonna I'm gonna end the meeting. I think I have to end the meeting for all in order to hang it up, but I will call you back. Do
Okay.
me a, you have to do a Go Bills Sisters and Go Bills.
Go Bills. Big dubs.